guys, I want to tell you about a little situation, not a little situation, but a situation that happened at the airport during my trip to um, Louisville. I don't know if you say Louisville or Louisville, and my stop over to New York, LaGuardia Airport. It happened, anyone. So there was a lady who, long story short, she missed her flight, and it can happen to anyone that you can miss your flight. I have traveled. The worst thing that can happen to you at the airport is missing your flight. I want to tell you the story of a lady, and I want you to tell me how you will have reacted in that situation. Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Clementine Fana, but you can call me Dr. Clem. I teach people how to find remote work opportunities so that they can invest and afford the life of their dreams by having an additional source of income. If you want to be part of this amazing adventure, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and follow, and check out the resources that I put at the bottom of my videos. I also share travel adventures, travel ideas, things that you can do for short getaways so that you don't have to wait for your end of year vacation for you to actually start living. And if you want to be a part of that adventure, make sure you still hit the subscribe button because I share recommendations every single week. Today we're going to talk about missing your flight, and I want to describe a situation that happened at the airport. And overall, I just feel like, we need to do better as people, but I want to hear what your thoughts are. So I was taking my flight to go to Louisville. I'm here for a conference, a travel conference. I have always wanted to go to this travel conference, so I've been very, very excited to be here. And I had the first layover, in New York, and it was a red-eye flight. So if you're not familiar, red-eye flights are usually like early morning or late night flights where you don't really sleep a lot the night before, the morning before, because you need to be there at the airport early. To the airport early, and then I checked in, and I was in the line for immigration and to pass the immigration because you're crossing the border. So I checked my the time, and I'm like, you know what, that's fine. I have enough time because generally when you travel, the boarding gate closes 15 minutes before the flight departure time. So I was in the line for immigration, and seeing that the line was going fast, I was like, you know what, it's not going to be any problem for me anyways. But while I was in the line, I don't know what happened, but I overheard there was a lady behind me who was talking with a young woman, and then she was talking about her flight. I was minding my business. I was editing my videos on my phone because that's what I like to do when I'm waiting. And the lady, so they were talking, and I overheard what they were saying. And the lady was like, you know what, I'm not sure if I'm going to make my flight and so forth. So I overheard them, and I was like, well, the lady said that her flight was at 6:45. Now mine was 15 minutes later, but her flight was at 6:45. And I checked the time on my phone, and I see that it is 6:20. So literally, this lady's flight was leaving in 25 minutes, and we were still in the immigration and customs line. Now the thing is that when you are traveling internationally, the immigration and customs lines tend to be longer, right? Because a lot of people are going out and so forth. So sometimes you can't really gauge it well, but you might be in a situation where it's actually longer than planned. She feels that she's going to miss her flight. So I looked, it's 6:20 and her flight is at 6:45. I'm like, but have you tried to contact the airline? She said that she was overall, she was just very defeated. She just felt like she didn't think that she could make it because the line ahead was still very long, and she just didn't know. And then she in her heart was already like, you know what, I've already considered I'm going to miss this flight even though it hurts me and so forth, but I still want to try. So I was in the line with her. She was just behind me, and I'm like, well, you know what, let's try to see if we can skip ahead, because your flight is in 25 minutes. Boarding will literally close in 10 minutes for you. So if you are not at the gate in 10 minutes, you are definitely missing that flight. I went to talk to the person, the airport agent who was managing the line at the front. And then as soon as I started to talk, I told her, excuse me, this lady, her flight is in 25 minutes and her boarding closes in 10 minutes. Can she get ahead of the line? We didn't even finish talking, and the lady was like, no, you can't get ahead. The person was like, no, you can't get ahead. There's no skipping line. There's no skipping of the line. It's the rule for everyone. And they're bargaining, and I'm telling her, but in this case, this lady, her flight is leaving in literally 25 minutes and boarding closes in 10 minutes. She's like, no, it's the rule for it. It doesn't matter when your flight is leaving. It's the rule. You can't skip ahead. And I looked at the lady was just like, you know what, she's just ready to give up. And I'm just there thinking, that we should be able to do better. Like, we should be able to do better than that. So if you have, even though you have rules in place, and I'm not suggesting that you should be breaking rules, I think rules should be put in place so that they can be followed and they can streamline the process for everyone. but at the same time, you can also have the flexibility to help people who are in difficult situations for them to be able to, get to where they need to go. There are times when you are able to make it on time. There are times when there are so many situations beyond your control where you don't know what happened to somebody, why they are the airport late, and you cannot assume that they are there late because they didn't want to try to come on time. Like, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, today is a good day to miss my flight. No, And so I feel like there are times when you don't need to be reminded of the rules, you don't need to be reminded of what you did wrong or whatever happened, but you just need the human grace, right? You need the grace, somebody who said, you know what, go ahead this time. And I felt like that situation was a situation where she could have just said, the agent could have just said, you know what, fine, let's put you ahead so that you can go, because the boarding was literally ending in 10 minutes, You have spoken to the immigration agent and say, okay, this lady and so forth, her flight is boarding, can she go ahead? I feel like we cannot just take it for granted that, okay, you know what, if you are not there at that time, you miss a flight, because, yeah, even if you end up missing a flight, we don't know. Missing a flight is a very difficult situation. Already traveling, in as much as it's fun, depending on the purpose of the travel, is an experience, is fun, but it's very stressful, and missing a flight has a lot of implications. It's not just, okay, catch it, ready for the next flight. You have to think about the money that you're going to be spending on rebooking a new ticket. If you had a connection, you have to think about that connection. You are losing that as well, because you're going to be marked as a no-show, and if you are a no-show, they automatically generate your ticket is cancelled. So you have to think about that. You have to think about so many other factors. Somebody almost passed in front of the camera. You have to think about so many other factors, and so missing a flight is not just like, okay, yeah, rebook it, right? And you don't know what people's financial situations are. Just okay, you can just rebook a flight because you missed it, because you were not there on time. So personally, I think to me that situation really it made me concerned, because I felt like it could be anyone. I have traveled to more than 30 countries, and I have had situations where I missed flights, and I'm going to tell you in another video how I actually almost missed this specific flight, and show you that it's not always the fault of the passenger. And in situations where you have the opportunity to give somebody the grace to move ahead, you should do it. So in my opinion, I think that this lady should have been allowed to skip the line because she was in extreme circumstances. I also think that at airports there should be agents, or there should be things put in place. It could be the airline agents helping people, who are, whether it's immigration lines or security lines, who need to go faster because the flights are coming. I think that those are things that we need to take into consideration, because again, nobody wakes up in the morning and say, today is a good day for me to miss my flight, let's see how I can miss my flight. Things can happen even when you are the most prepared traveler, and I'm just trying to put myself in the situation of this lady, and I'm like, if that was to happen to my mom, to my dad, to my grandparents, my sister, my brother, I would want somebody to extend them the grace of saying, hey, get ahead of me, skip the line, so that you can get the chance to catch your flight that is leaving in 25 minutes. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. In the next video, I'm going to share with you as well how I myself almost missed that flight. That same time I'm talking to you about coming to Louisville, Kentucky, how I almost missed that flight, just to show you that even when you are the most prepared, things can always happen, and we need to be able to extend the grace to people whenever we have the opportunity to do so. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think she should have been allowed to skip the line so that she could catch her flight? Or do you think that the rule, the system set, it was right to strictly enforce it so that, regardless of whoever the situation is, you will miss that flight? Let's chat.